Good morning, Nottinghamshire Madness fans. Welcome to another video. I've got a little dog coming to see us. Let's say hello to the dog. Hello, mate. Hello. Yes, that's it. Famous dog on film. Right. So we've crossed the county line today into Derbyshire. There's a tenuous link as to why we're here. The view behind me is, you can see Bolsover Castle and Bolsover. Let me see if I can get a better angle on that. So this is a view. If you're going to build a house, this is a view to die for. Absolutely amazing. From here you can see over to the moors of Sheffield. Beautiful valley leading ahead. M1's in the valley at the moment. The view has been spoilt over the years. Bolsover Colliery was the first thing that went into place, and that came and went. The Bolsover Colliery Company was actually listed in the top 30 index in the Financial Times of most successful companies in the country. That was a while ago though. Then the next one to come along to spoil the view was Coalite, and not only did they spoil the view, but they also polluted the valley and made a mess and stank us all out. The whole area stank of TCP. That's gone. The motorway's still here. That's a new addition though. That's stinking out the valley, and I think it has an enforced lower speed limit because of fumes and everything else. But Bolsover Castle over there, that survives. That survives all sorts of things that did, and Bolsover and Carvale. And then you look at Polterton. When you come to this location, get your map out and drive in from Polterton village, because we're at Sutton Scarsdale. And if you're driving from Polterton village, you get an amazing view over this valley. You can see over where we are now, Sutton Scarsdale Hall. You get a fantastic commanding view of the facade of the hall. You see over and beyond the hall, over to the Derbyshire moors, towards Chatsworth, again towards Sheffield. The view, so drive from Polterton to Sutton Scarsdale. It's a little narrow country lane. If you've got a dog with you, there's a little dog, there's a bridleway passes an old railway line. You can give your dog a little run there, but it's a cracking drive just to see these views of Bolsover Castle. As you're driving down to the right, you can almost get a glimpse of Hardwick Hall. But when you see the facade of this, amazing. This was built, it says it was built in 1726. Probably took more than a year to build, but it was built by the Earl of Sutton. The Earl of Sutton was one of these chaps who went off in the wars for Charles I and did his little bit and got rewarded with an earldom and a seat up here in Derbyshire. Whether he originated from here, I don't know. Anyway, he built this, and his missus must have had good taste, because she adorned it inside with Italian ornate plasterwork. We'll get a glimpse of that through the windows. I can't find a way in yet because they've put the Harris fencing around. Harris fencing has been around for a couple of years. I went in last year, managed to find a way in, and I'll try again today. Anyway, his missus had good taste. She had this Italian plasterwork done. The stonework, the mason, he was a Nottingham lad, and that's the connection with Nottingham and Nottinghamshire. And he really went to town. Him and the Earl, they did some really ornate stonework at the top of pillars. There's the crest right in the apex of on the facade. built a church at the side of it. I think the church was here before. There was a house here since 1470 or something like that, and apparently the architect has incorporated that into the design of this. What that means, I don't know. Whether it may just be the cellars, I don't know. But there's certainly something being incorporated from the earlier property. So we've got the Earl here and his missus, and I guess they're living quite happy. They had a couple of kids, I think, a son and a daughter, and eventually the old one passed down to his son. He died childless, I think he was a bachelor, and the title passed on to a nephew. And when he died unmarried and childless. So so that's when the earldom died out. So the hall then, I don't know who had the hall after him. It may have gone straight to Judge John Arkwright. He was a descendant from Sir Richard Arkwright. But I think he wasn't as clever as Richard, because I mean Richard, he was a top lad. He was a really good inventor and transformed this country and transformed the world with his inventions and his production methods and all that. Whether it was good or bad at the time, I don't know, but he certainly transformed the world. Anyway, John Arkwright, he came along and he got hold of Sutton Scarsdale Hall. He was an investment banker back in those days. Well, he was an investment banker. And he said another word then. Well, it was probably that as well, actually. And he was an asset stripper in reality. So he took the roof off and flogged it, and flogged all the interior to America. Well, the Yanks wanted it. Well, the Yanks want everything, don't they, like this, because they've got no history of their own, so they have to nick it or buy it. So I'm going to try to poke the lens through there. You can see some of the ornate plasterwork above the fireplace. And so we'll move along the fence again. Anyway, back to John. So he asset stripped it, sold all the inside to America. Salvage, that's what they called it. Sold it for salvage. So really, that was the end of it, and it's a shame, because most of these great houses, they lost themselves to fire and inheritance tax, and all these things came along to everything was against country houses. Fire was one of the big things that destroyed country houses. Inheritance tax was another thing that broke these estates up, and it took an asset stripper to destroy this place, which is really sad, because I guess in the grand scheme of things, if it hadn't been for John Arkwright, it may have survived and been intact today. So after John Arkwright filled his boots, it passed on to the Sitwell family. Now I don't think the Sitwell family got involved for a number of years. So what happened between John and the Sitwells, I don't know. History's a bit sketchy on the internet. Any road, the Sitwell family, which they're more known for their presence in the Derbyshire South Yorkshire border, in their estates, they ended up with it. And I think they ended up with it because they'd heard on the grapevine that it was up for sale, and people were only interested in buying it for the stonework. You know, a little bit more asset stripping, which is what we get. So the Sitwells bought it to keep it, to preserve it, and later, and I think approaching probably the 1970s, all those years later, the Sitwells bequeathed it or passed it on to the state so the country could keep it in prosperity for the nation. And this is the hall, or the manor we now have. It's a Georgian manor house, as you can see, and I guess after all the investment banking, it's probably done well to survive as it is, and it certainly wouldn't have survived without the Sitwell family intervening and saving it in the way they did. It's an English heritage site at the moment. They're custodians of it, and are doing some work. There's a machine here, so I guess there's some builders knocking about. But this is where I got in last time, so I'm gonna have a go. You squeeze, we'll go down here. Yeah. Squeeze under the holly, or through the holly, or around the holly. Still got all my eyes. No, I'm not gonna get in. This is where I came in last time, and they've thwarted me. Anyway, let's see what we can see through here. There's loads of stuff on the internet, pictures. Wow. It's apparently it's not safe. If you look at that crack there, where the keystone was, there's a crack there. It's got to be 120 mil wide. Goes up through to that window sill. There's a lintel. Don't know if you can see or not. I'm trying to get you a view of it. There's a lintel above the window. That's about to fall out. The keystone's falling out above the window as well. It probably is dangerous. Right, we'll scoot off back down there, and we'll have a quick glegs in the churchyard. I was going to climb the wall, but discretion and age has stopped me. I've lost my hat. That's my little foray into the wilderness for today. Alright, we'll have a walk down and have a look at the church. I think it's the part of this diocese is Sutton Scarsdale is the name of where we are. This little thing about here about how you can help. It's got enough money to pay for itself. We need help to maintain the churchyard. Alright, well, we'll have a look round. Obviously we'll see if there's any war graves whilst we're here. Rather nice churchyard. Little rows of headstones. We'll just have a walk through. So the halls pop under the use here. We'll look at the hall from this angle. Must have been quite a splendid place to live. You can see the crack a bit better from here. It must be a splendid place to live, and the grounds were set out as a deer park, and I think there were 2 tree-lined avenues of elms which you followed along to the house. So here's the church. Right, where can we go without stepping on somebody. Go down the edge here. On the back of the gravestones here, so all should be well. To the churchyard. Church got a tower, a couple of gargoyles up there. Just have a look to see how the opening is. Disabled access. Yeah. So the church is in use, which is nice to know. Right, I'm just having a scour around the gravestones to see what I can see. I just walked down behind these guys. Wow, look how the wind's one way at that one. Sandstone, I guess. Still no sign of any war graves. Got a Celtic cross though. I wonder who the Celtic cross is for. Always nice to see. Got another stone here that's got sort of a portcullis type of design on the front of it. This must be the resting area for the toffs, because everything's quite fancy. Mary Taylor, 1860. Mary Ann, widow of Richard Woodhead. I know many churchyards aren't their thing to look at, but you need a bit of something a bit humbling in your life, because one thing's for certain, this is where you're going to end up. It's not about religion, it's about the reality of being a mere mortal. Right, let's have a quick look. I can't see, well, I can see a war grave, perhaps. Is it just a, I don't know, it might be. Let's have a look. No, it's not a war grave. It's in that style. The war graves normally stick out quite well from everything else that's in the churchyard. Right. I think that we'll get out of the churchyard. I don't like making too much noise, because there are other people here to consider. You probably can't even hear me yourselves, but oops, looks like I left the gate open, I didn't know. Somebody else, I don't know. But it's closed. Right guys, so that's my little tour of Sutton Scarsdale Hall, and a little bit of history of who and why it's left abandoned as it is. Walk up by this truck and I'll just get an image of the, I guess would have been the entrance for people visiting, but certainly the grand view and the grand entrance, and the facade was on the other side. So it's well worth a visit and a little walk round. Visit this, visit Bolsover Castle, visit Hardwick Hall. Let's face it, I guess if you were living here in the 1700s, you had some pretty good neighbours over the valley. Anyway, Nottinghamshire Madness fans, thank you for watching. Please click the like button and please subscribe, and I'll find something even more interesting next time to talk about, hopefully. Anyway, I'll leave you with the little pan of the hall.